Election Day. Mississippi is a battleground. Let me tell you, the men and women here across this state are in the position to decide this outcome. I'm going to ask each of you not just to come out tomorrow, but to pick up the phone and call 5 people, call 10 people, call your friends, call your family, call your neighbors, and say this election matters. It matters to me. It matters to my kids and my grandkids.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz had 2 big wins this past Saturday. He won the Republican contest in Kansas and Maine. And joining us now, the man himself, 2016 Republican presidential candidate Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, you know, we spend all this time on Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Nevada, and then boom, it's like you're not even aware that 3 days of contest, then more contests. Very difficult. It speeds up exponentially. How do you feel where you are right now in terms of the delegate count and the path to the nomination?
Well, Sean, it's great to be with you, and thank you. You know, we've had an incredible week, and the momentum behind our campaign, it keeps growing and growing. You know, it started a week ago on Super Tuesday. Super Tuesday was simply a tidal wave of support for our campaign as we locked down wins across the country. And then this Saturday, that momentum only increased. This Saturday, we won 2 states outright. We won Kansas with a landslide, nearly 50% of the vote. We also won Maine with a terrific win there. And then in Louisiana and Kentucky, in Louisiana, we tied Donald Trump for the delegate outcome. So we ended up coming out with a dead heat. He narrowly edged us out in Kentucky. But I think what we're seeing is we're seeing the continuation of the process that's been happening from the beginning, which is the field narrowing. You know, we started this campaign a year ago with 17 candidates. More and more, the forces that do not want to see Donald Trump as our nominee, that don't want to see Donald go head-to-head with Hillary and lose, as he loses in just about every poll, Hillary trounces him. More and more Republicans are unifying behind our campaign because we've got to win, we've got to beat Hillary, and we've got to turn this country around and bring back the jobs and opportunity that have been so sorely lacking under Barack Obama.
Senator, to me, as an outsider looking in, I see a 2-man race right now, and unless Senator Rubio or Governor Kasich can show some serious growth in the next couple of weeks, to me it's a 2-man race. And in many ways, as you read social media, it's the Trump, anti-Trump forces. Donald Trump says he wants a one-on-one race with you, and you say you want one with him. It seems the establishment won't allow that to happen. Is that a fair analysis?
Well, listen, I think the other candidates in this race, they're good people, and they love their country. They love their country more than their own personal ambition. They're going to have to look at the race and see if they have a path ahead. And if they don't have a realistic path ahead to winning the nomination, then I think it's time to consider coming together and uniting. At this point, Donald and I, in the delegate count, fewer than 100 delegates separate us. We both have over 300 delegates. We are very close. The momentum is with us. And we are the only campaign that has beaten Donald repeatedly, not once, not twice, but now 7 times. And we're the only campaign that can and will beat Donald Trump. And so the process we're seeing, you know, I would invite supporters of Jeb Bush or Chris Christie or Carly Fiorina or Ben Carson or Marco Rubio or John Kasich to come together and unite. That's what's been happening. It's why we're winning these races. And I invite folks to continue to unite. We welcome you on our team, and we're going to win this nomination. We're going to go on to win the general.
I heard your comments about a brokered convention. Now, I interviewed at CPAC Governor John Kasich. He says, oh, a brokered convention would be exciting. Why do I think that a brokered convention, if neither you nor Donald Trump get to the magic number of 1,237 delegates, why do I believe that in that environment, knowing how the establishment feels about both of you for different reasons, that it would be to stop you guys and give it to somebody else? Mitt Romney said, well, I can't say no if somebody asks you to be on the ballot at that point. It seems that is an effort that has even been spelled out by Governor Romney. That is troubling to me, because that would usurp the will of the people at that point. If the person that has the most delegates doesn't get that nomination, why do I suspect shenanigans in the back room?
Sean, you're exactly right. Listen, these visions of a brokered convention are the fevered fantasies of the Washington establishment, of the lobbyists who are so dismayed because they keep each of their favorite candidates keeps losing. They have candidates they want, and the voters don't want them. They want someone who will stand up to the bipartisan corruption of Washington, someone who will stand with the people. And you're right, if the party insiders try to subvert the will of the people and pick their own favorite candidate who hasn't earned the votes of the people, it will be a disaster. And rightfully, people will rise up outraged. Now, let me tell you right now, Sean, it ain't going to happen. They may think it's really a popular idea in Washington, D.C., but here's what's going to happen. The field is continuing to narrow. Head-to-head, not only do we beat Donald Trump, but we beat Donald Trump resoundingly. Donald has a hard ceiling of 35 to 40%. That's why we won Kansas overwhelmingly. That's why we won Maine. That's why we won Alaska and Oklahoma. That's why we won Texas overwhelmingly. Because Donald has a hard ceiling on the support that he can get. And head-to-head, we're not headed to a brokered convention. We are headed to a win to 1,237 delegates.
Let me ask you this.
And that entails Republicans uniting.
I know you have your issues with Donald. He has his issues with you. You two have gone back and forth now, and the voters will decide. But when you really think about it, because I kind of view you as an insurgent outsider, because you're hated by the establishment, and you can't deny he's an outsider, you know, just by the fact that he hasn't been in politics. So 18 out of 20 contests, Senator, have been won by outsiders, and the establishment is throwing money here, there, and everywhere, and it's not working. What are they not getting in this process? They seem to be out of touch with where the voters are. What are they not understanding? I would argue that they caused this.
Well, look, Sean, you're exactly right that the voters want an outsider. They're fed up. They're furious with Washington. The one thing I disagree with you on is Donald Trump is not an outsider. He is pretending to be an outsider. But in Donald's own words, 7 months ago, he was the establishment. Donald Trump has been supporting the Washington establishment, the Washington corruption, for 4 decades. He supported Jimmy Carter over Ronald Reagan. He supported Harry Reid and Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden. He supported John Kerry over George W. Bush, and he contributed multiple times to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. So to all the folks at home who are Donald Trump supporters, who are furious with Washington, I get that. But Donald has been funding and supporting everything you're furious about. The Gang of Eight amnesty bill, Donald funded the Gang of Eight. He supported 5 of the 8 members of the Gang of Eight. I led the opposition to the Gang of Eight amnesty bill, and we defeated it in the U.S. Congress. And so the people want someone who will stand up to Washington. Donald Trump has not only never stood up to Washington, but he has funded their corruption. And, you know, at the last debate, Sean, Donald promised everyone, he said he will be, quote, flexible. Well, we all know flexible is D.C. code word for they're getting ready to stick it to you, because whenever you're flexible, it means Donald is going to cut a deal that favors Wall Street and big business and leaves the working man out in the cold.
How do you feel about tomorrow, for example? You got Michigan and Mississippi, the 2 big states. You got Idaho and Hawaii. How well are you planning to do tomorrow?
Look, I hope we do very well tomorrow. We are campaigning hard. We were in Idaho 2 days ago, had incredible support and enthusiasm about Idaho. I think we're in a strong position there. I'm right now in Mississippi. We've got tremendous excitement here in Mississippi. Later tonight, I'm going to be in Michigan. We've got a huge rally planned in Michigan. Hawaii, I'm hopeful, will also continue to see what we've been seeing, which is conservatives uniting and coming together. If you want someone who has kept his word. You know, when we had the Super Tuesday victory in Texas, it was particularly meaningful because the people of Texas, they're the ones who know me best. They know my heart. They're the ones that I made promises to 5 years ago when I ran for Senate. I promised the people of Texas, if you elect me, I will fight with every breath in my body to stop Obamacare, to stop amnesty, to stop this debt that is bankrupting our kids and grandkids, to bring back jobs and economic growth, and to defend religious liberty and the Second Amendment. And the reason we won by a landslide election in Texas with the biggest turnout ever is because the men and women of Texas know that I kept my word. I did what I said I would do, and that's what I'll do as president, and that's why I believe Republicans are uniting behind our campaign.